Hey there, fellow defenders of the Ark. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens. Episode 60, Beleaguered but not Beguiled. Right at the start of the stream, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the trip is going to look like, but also some minor changes I made since last week. So one little change is I installed a mod called Self-Die, and I'm setting it up now. The colonists will dye their clothing automatically, preferring their ideology color and coloring their entire clothing. So as dyes are made available, I don't have to manage it anymore. So thank God. I'm happy about that. One of the other changes I made was ideological ones. So here, as you can see, the stalwarts now identify as transhumanist. I think it was really only a matter of time until that was the case. So they are formerly transhumanist. They had been fluidly developing towards transhumanism, and they've taken that on. The pilgrims, on the other hand, have formally become city builders. They are honestly the backbone of industry in this city, and have fueled the city for most of its materials. So they have ascended to city building meme. Those are the major changes. And then back to what I was going to say, saving up for the transport pods. So I had mentioned last stream that the super cold really is only present on our home tile. I don't intend to exploit that and like walk all the way to the sites. But the idea that I had was to send out 2 people in about 10 days or so towards the end of the spring cycle in order to obtain additional Ark components and information about the Ark. And the caveat is I'm going to have to decide who should go. So Axios, Fishpick, and Zushin should not go. They do not benefit from being deployed out to the Ark because they already have Ark knowledge. So it would be best if someone that did not have Ark knowledge was deployed. So I'm going to have you guys decide who goes on the Ark trip. Now, there is one thing that is really important to keep in mind. Regardless of like knowledge or whatever, we are going to need construction skill. So if whoever is chosen goes, they need to be able to put together a transport pod. And a transport pod construction requirement is at least 6. If you don't have 6, you can't build the pod, which means you're stranded, which is a big problem. So Cardinal is the only other one with reasonably high construction skills. I mean, Winter technically has a skill of 6, but Cardinal being a skill of 16 is probably our best bet. But it's not to say that we have to take Cardinal. We could take Winter. Winter could be an okay substitute. So I'm going to put up a poll here about who is going to be deployed on the trip. And the top 2 choices get deployed. In fact, actually, let's do it this way. What I want to do is have only this... I want to have a stalwart and a pilgrim on the trip. I don't think the factions would not want a representative to be deployed. Right? That makes the most sense. So we're going to have to take 1 stalwart and 1 pilgrim. So what stalwart or what pilgrim is elected to go on the expedition? I think this is the better way to do it. So that would be JD, Winter, or Rogi. So I only want pilgrims, self-identified pilgrims, to be voting in this poll. If you are a self-identified stalwart, wait for the stalwart poll. And we'll leave that up. And I'll give you 2.5 minutes to vote in that. Now, in terms of amassing resources for this trip, one thing that I think might be reasonable is to start making chem fuel from wood. It's not really as efficient as making chem fuel from organics. Wood requires a little bit more... oh, interesting. Wood requires a little bit more manual labor in order to produce, But burning our food for a transport pod also seems somewhat problematic. So the plan is to construct a new heater over here and go ahead and start to do deep drill for wood and convert the wood into chem fuel so that we don't have to burn up our rice. Because at the moment, we're rather low on organics, and if we're going to be transport potting people around, it's only going to get worse. I would love for Zeusin to get back on research, too. So there's other little changes I want to make. One is here. This is not the final design of this zoning airlock. But putting a wall here will stop them from shooting in this location. At the very least. They might stand behind the door. But there's... You know, what we could do to prevent them from staying behind the door is to build it like this. With... I know this takes up a lot of wood. So that there's no shooting from this spot. But I think I'd rather have them stand behind the door. And drive them forward anyway. And if we don't want them to stand behind the door, you know, I do plan on readdressing this once this moisture pump expands all the way out. But at least this change will stop them from being able to shoot out to the left. They'll have to shoot to the right, which they don't necessarily have a good line of sight on. Alright, Madsen, you want a look change. I guess we'll head to the style. And I think it's safe to say that Winter is elected, the Pilgrim elected to go on the trip. So, what stalwart is elected to go on the expedition? We have Cardinal, Wishbringer, Madsen, and Sheep. Oops, I should spell Madsen right. And just like the last poll, this is for stalwarts only to vote on. So have you choose? You don't like your hair or beard. Oh, you know what? I think there were some ideological problems with the... When I changed the memes, it reset hair in use, hair and beards. Nah, I don't really care. I'll just try to make them look as closest to the way they were as possible. I'm going to get the wood deep drill back on. And now we have a new use for wood. So I'm going to temporarily pause the chem fuel from wood. And then do chem fuel from wood forever. So we'll use up all of our wood. And one of the benefits of this is then... originally we're using insect meat. But now that we're not, I can just store the wood right at the chem bench. The biofuel refinery, and that will be fine. It looks like our power is keeping pace, but even still, I might go ahead and batch up some additional NPM just to reduce our power draw from the batteries. I would like the batteries to be like 2/3 full. That's kind of like a good spot for it to sit at. If only I could get Zeusin to... Everyone's like pulling meals out of this thing faster than she can stock the hoppers. Rude, right? Like, hey guys, I'm working here. And they're all just dining. He's like, come on, man. All this work. It's very weird to be putting berries. I know I said this before, but very weird to be putting berries in hoppers. Oop, don't eat the raw rice. Let's not do that. And Bell and Lotus, thank you for the resubs too. Alright, that's probably enough meals. And it looks like Wishbringer and Winter are going to be going. And they are a couple. So I think it's also reasonable to make a double bed. A cloth double bed. I know I have a lot of cloth, but, you know, if they're heading all the way out there, they deserve at least a little comfort. I think that's safe to say. Alright, we are up to, like, almost 1,000 steel. That is way more than I thought we'd have all of a sudden. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of saving up for something big. Cardinal, I'm going to have you make the cloth double bed. And what else? We could fix the offset of the defenses. That was one thing I considered. So these defenses are for the turrets, but I don't really have defenses specifically for like our shooters in the way that I have over here. So I could start to do like sort of pillbox design here as well. Because I haven't been using the forward area for defense. Although that will let them through. So let's not do it like that. Put a little piece there. This is shallow water. Maybe what I'll do, because we have so much material, is I'll remove this piece of shallow water because it will help to allow us to build a little bit more defenses up in this spot. Because I would like to build a wall here, but it would have to be a wooden one, as it is now. One thing that occurred to me, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me sooner, one of the difficulties of this series is because I don't have ideology installed. In ideology, it allows you to make formal shirts and corsets, which are a middle layer clothing, which would allow us to insulate ourselves a bit better. But there is no non-DLC middle layer clothing, not without mods, and I don't intend to install mods to fix the problem. But I thought it was interesting that if I had either Biotech or Royalty installed, the challenge of this series would be a little bit easier due to middle layer clothing. Oh god! I do not like this raid already. We've got too many guns, 2 triple launchers, a Doomsday launcher in that group alone. In this group we have a triple launcher. In this group there's no Doom level. Okay, before I do anything else, how insulated? Okay, you are incredibly well insulated. Copy that. But you are not. Where's the other triple? Oh, it's probably one taken. Oh, great. And you are not. I think this is one of those raids where we are going to have to play for time. Having them freeze using the ambient temperature on our side. Because this is not one of those raids where you're going to want to go out there and get shot by Doomsday launchers and triple launchers. But they are very poorly insulated. So we can use that to our advantage. Meaning, preparing to lure them for as long as possible. Letting them succumb to the ambient. So, it is time to turtle. I don't have a lot of deadfall traps. But one thing I could do is to make some spare deadfall traps. I'm never going to know that there's a trap like nested back there. Make some spare deadfall traps. so that I can uninstall and reinstall, because it's also possible to lure them to deadfall traps. Now, of course, stone deadfall traps aren't as effective as steel ones, but I still don't feel like using our precious steel or iron makes sense in this case. Normally, I would try to divide and conquer, but I think the worry with the kind of weapons they have is there's very little room for mistake when you're tanking Doomsday Launchers, and it's not really like we have armor in our colony, so I really don't want to take that risk. So the first door that's open is this one. And then after that, maybe I will lure them to this door. That is kind of the furthest door from here, which means forcing this one open for a valid path all the way through. So Zeusin, let's pop this open and prepare for our lovely guests. When I say lovely, I kind of don't mean lovely. Not excited about this fight. It's possible to take pot shots at, like, the first group arriving. You need to be restricted. Because the first group arriving doesn't have any of the Doom's launchers. I definitely don't want to be around for when the Doom level folks arrive, however. But if we can get this group, which does not have long-range weapons to flee, they are slightly ahead of the second group. There won't be a lot of time to shoot at them, but I think it's probably an endeavor worth doing. So I'm going to have them rally into position, and then Fishpick will be ready at the rear door, and Madsen at the front door to flip the state of the doors and lure them elsewhere. So, the triple launcher is Oleg, which is here. He's the furthest and back. So as soon as he gets to where everyone else is standing, in this area, we need to fall back and retreat. Oh boy. Yeah, this is... I like zero of this. Oh great, we're shooting the Pope. Pope pirate. Alright, so here's Oleg. And it is time to flip the state. And make ourselves incredibly scarce. So having flipped the state, Jesse is pretty close to the door, like as far as the first party that will arrive. So taking pot shots at like Cat Lady or Matya is probably not viable, because that would put them at risk. Come on, go away. Alright, Fishpick, I'm going to have you switch with Madsen, because you can repair doors a lot better than he can. Actually, let's have you do that in a minute, because it seems like Zhang, Sean, and Maddie are still coming to destroy the doors. Actually, I'll take that back. Matt, these shooters here definitely seem like they've split up from a lot of the other group. Jesse's now in the rear, meaning we can, in fact, take pot shots at them. So I'm having them race over here and try to whittle the numbers down as they come in. And Madsen, with his construction 0, is doing his best at repairing the thing, but his best is horrible. So the person in front is, and Sheep, you can join, because this is a close quarter fight. The person in front has Molotovs, and then it's frag grenades, a minigun. So we'll see about taking them out, and Fishpick and Madsen are ready to flip the state of this door as well. Madsen, I'm going to have you undraft. All right. One of the first groups is fleeing. Is this Jesse? Oh, Jesse died of hypothermia. Perfect. So on the north, we do have a Doomsday Launcher coming in. Yuta. But apart from Yuta, I think I could probably take out Rika and Skisor before we have to dodge Yuta. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to find those that are like vulnerable and exposed, and like picking off ones that are straggling. Because this is definitely one of those fights where like I need to kill the stragglers and not go against the brunt of the force, because they out DPS me by a lot. So another group is fleeing, and that's probably care of hypothermia. So the last group is the one with Oleg, which is a bit of a problem because Oleg is a triple launcher. So here's the plan. I'm going to go inside and flip the state of the doors again. So Sheep, you're going to come over here and close this door. Which means that these groups are going to turn around, and Sean and Lucky will be in front. And Sean and Lucky are not that tough. I might even try to come out this door and ambush them. Alright, and then Sheep has closed this door. In fact, Sheep, close the limestone door too, just in case they break the wooden door down. I don't want them to get a breach. So Oleg, the triple launcher, is down, but Zong is still up. Okay, here is the ambush. Good. They're all fleeing. Okay. Thank you, ambient temperature, for being my greatest protector. Now, the other thing is, Aaron over here is absolutely ripping up our doors. So, let's try to stop him from, dismantling our walls and everything. Because he's going to come all the way out here and start breaking these. Anyone worth capturing? That's a good question. No. No, because they'll die too soon. Definitely no. 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 Basically, no. The only one that was worth capturing is going to die too quickly to be of much use. Alright, Sean is coming in. Never mind. What about Sean? Trigger happy? No, annoying voice. Okay. Yeah, we've defended. Axios, and actually, who was the other one that was Bloodlust? I know I had two. Rogi? No, you are the opposite. You're kind. Winter. Actually, both of you are, like, way too happy, so I don't think it really matters who finishes off who. But, let's get back on... Given the ambient temperature, I'm actually going to go... I don't need the wedding zone anymore, so let's get rid of the wedding zone. That was just to force everyone into where they should be. So everyone's going to be research prevented except for Zuzan. So we are allowing everybody to go everywhere as a result. Because it's only negative 62. Well, it only sounds like a weird word to say. But it's only negative 62 out, which means it's fine to move about. I think the corpses out on the snow, I'm just going to leave out in the snow. Because they're pretty easy to burn once it's not snowing anymore. So anyone inside the walls need to be hauled. And then these guys, because they're on the shallow water. So we lost 2 doors, which is kind of annoying as a result of that being a insulated tunnel door, but, you know, whatever. How do you get rid of a triple? If you burn it, it'll explode. You can get rid of it. I mean, you can throw a Molotov at it and walk away. The explosion radius isn't so great that you'll die. Hell, you could even do that with an anti-grain warhead, because essentially the quote-unquote fuse timer for those types of weapons is long enough that you can easily walk away before it blows up. I think I am going to temporarily disable the construction of the extra deadfall traps, because we don't really urgently need them. I'd rather have, like, doors replaced. Well, after that first raid is done, let's have our first voting session, shall we? Here are the proposals. The stalwarts, once again, desire to increase their charitable acts in their ideology, and the pilgrims desire alcohol. These are failed measures in the past that are being reproposed. Pretty straightforward. So you can, if you're a stalwart, you can vote for stalwart, defer, or abstain. If you're a pilgrim, you can vote for pilgrim, defer, and abstain. And it's kind of a winner-take-all here. And this is the 28th measure of the 5th of spring. Year 6. It seems to me that pilgrims are going to have a desire for alcohol. So here we go. Let's cover the results of this poll. As a result of the poll, and thank you for voting, the stalwarts are now disenfranchised. They've lost a whole lot of the recent polling. In fact, let's go over to the history tab real quick. So, of the last 4, they've lost 3 of them. The 25th, 27th, and now 28th have resulted in a pilgrim victory, and the 26th in a stalwart victory. So their faction politics, disenfranchised. The pilgrims, on the flip side, has gone up to -3. They were at -5 before. Now they also have a alcohol desired. Drinking is just plain fun, though not in excess. So they desire to have a drink at least once every 3 days. As a result of this poll, we're going to have 2 different scheduled drug policies. So this is going to be scheduled drugs stalwarts and scheduled drugs pilgrims. And the pilgrims are going to have a beer every 2 days, regardless of conditions. Basically, you drink beer. Everyone drinks. And there we go. Now they have a new schedule. So thank you for voting. Work hard, drink hard. Yeah, it's basically their ethos. They do backbreaking work, and they wish to be rewarded for it. Okay, we're getting that moisture pump up, and this moisture pump only actually expand once, which is really not a big deal. Or twice, right? Yeah, really just once. So I hope it's not destroyed in that time. Suppose we'll see. Likewise, I want to stagger the defenses here I don't really need to destroy these southern ones, but stagger the defenses here to match the walls that we've got. So maybe what I'll do is a line like that. Actually, that's not really what I wanted to do. I want to have something like we had back here. Like this. That's a wall, so this will be... It's possible that we'll end up with more automated turrets, but it might be a minute before they get rolled out. Kind of a lower priority thing to do, because we've been managing to defend without it up until now. Well, it seems like the Tinctoria dyes are going a long way. We currently have a bunch of beer in the colony, and we'll just have to keep an eye on making sure that beer count stays up. Making sure that it is being well supplied for our pilgrims. Lest they get ornery. So again, let's looking over the desire here. If it's 10 or more days before their last drink, their mood goes down a bit. So we don't necessarily have to keep them happy, but, you know, it'd be in our best interest. Now, as far as stockpiling for our transportation trip, oh, you know, it might be a bit still too cold to have people come all the way out here. But as far as stockpiling for our transportation trip, I feel like we have enough components in steel. So what should the next project be? I can... So the new project... So the issue with the new project is it probably should not detract from our stock pool of transportation pod material. But here's a list regardless, and I'll try to retain enough resources that we can get out to the Ark site and back. Oh, what did I just click off of? Trade Inspire. Okay, yep. Don't care about that. Alright, they are attacking immediately, unusually clever. Yet another raid. Really? Is this a shield belt raid? No. Yes, sort of. A mix? Confusing? Okay. Everyone behind the walls. Rogi, I'm gonna manually control you, because your movement path was stupid. The only issue that I see is we desperately need this door built, or they're gonna go into the mining tunnels and destroy the heaters. Rogi, flip this door as you come in. So at least it protects the northern mining tunnels and the mining drills, which are the most expensive. So I'm going to have Fishpick try to urgently build a door, if he can. He's running with some steel. I think the raid might get to him first. But in this case, what I'll go ahead and do is try to offer him gun coverage. The southern group are coming in, and we can use Madzin to flip the state of the door and slow them down. And it looks like you guys just want me to continue to save up materials for the transport pod outposts. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to resolve that pull so I can focus on the raid. So their most gunned up guy is in front. I'm going to have Rogie fall back and use our numerical advantage for defense. Wish got clipped in the torso. Okay. Their gunned up guy is gone. We're going to flee into the base. And the door got built by Fishpick, who is where now? You should be behind the walls. So Fishpick's going to run through the mining tunnels now. The other thing is I'm going to need... Oh, God, they're on top of me. Axios, hold that door open. And everybody come in. I don't know if I can keep them from, like, jumping me here. Oh, sheep. You're in the wrong spot. So we might have a brawler bottleneck. Sheep, you are not listening. Oh, God. I was trying to have sheep fall back. He's going to be a sacrificial lamb at this rate. Alright, he's downed with a destroyed toe. The pathfinding was trying to force him to go in a path that didn't make a whole lot of sense. So Fishpick, I'm going to have you offer yourself up as a valid target. Godless is going to try to kidnap sheep, but we're all ready to spring into action when that happens. Fishpick's offering up as a valid target, and Madsen is about to close this door. So a valid target can be a path into your base, but it also can be just like a person that they can path to. So in this case, I'm doing a person that I can path to. Alright, and now that everyone's outside, everyone has a valid path to... All of the brawlers have a valid path to this group. I think what's probably going to be best is we stand our ground. It's not going to feel good, but that's what happens when I get caught out in the open like I did. And Madsen is making sure that these raiders turn around. So the northern group is fleeing already, which is good. That saves us from some harm. And let's see. Axios is going to do some quick tending. Cardinal, you go carry sheep. Everyone else, don't fire at will. Alright, so Wish, Rogie, Zeus, and JD. I want you mustering into the hospital. Cardinal, you're going to do the same. Fantastic. Thank you for the resub. And also Sandra, too. And then we are going to lure the attackers back to us. And try to fire on them, reducing their number as they path past us. Which means, Madsen, you can reopen this door. I hope we stay warm enough, we'll see. Fishpick, you can render aid decently, so head to the hospital and help out sheep. Cardinal, you're required out in the battlements. Alright, so now the valid path into our base. Oh, Mads had never opened that door. I didn't force it open. They don't have a valid path at the moment, but they're about to. So without a valid path for a moment, as you can see, they're just attacking random walls. That's what ends up happening. Alright, let's save steel at this point. Turning off all of the turrets. And, you did not tend. Let's try that again. Where are they headed to? I can't figure out. Because they briefly didn't have a path. They're all just like attacking random things. Which is not ideal exactly. Busting holes in our base. Don't love it, but... Sheep, what the hell? Why'd you get up? Rest until you're healed. No need for heroics. Alright, now they're finally coming back. They have... Oh, are you getting up again? Rest until healed. What is sheep's problem? Like, why is sheep keep getting up in the middle of getting medically tent? Okay, where are you going? You're wearing tribal wear good? No, Patience 1. What is going on? Forbid. You're locked in the hospital. This is now a sanatorium. You're going crazy trying to like wear different clothing in the middle of bleeding to death. So quit being stupid. No, it wasn't hauling. They were trying to like change clothing in the middle of bleeding to death, as I said. So it seems like none of the walls that the enemies have targeted are like mission critical walls that are necessary for defense necessarily. So I don't need to stop them from... Oh, well, breaking that one's going to be kind of a problem. But maybe they'll flee by then. Yep, they're fleeing now. Yo, don't flee into me. And you guys weren't even set on fire on will. That's the problem here. Sorry, Wish. You're getting bruised for no reason. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in the next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Frostwardens,